Good morning, Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. Please rise in body and/or spirit for our opening hymn, Voice Still and Small. We will sing it twice.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Ellis, and I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota Board of Trustees. I want to welcome you all to our service this morning. We especially want to welcome those who are visitors, whether you are here with us on campus or viewing the service over our live stream. We welcome visitors to find out more about us and Unitarian Universalism by registering on our virtual guest book, which you can find at our website, uusrq.org. If you are here in person, there is a sign-up sheet for visitors at the welcome table outside. If you do choose to register, we will send you our weekly newsletter and Zoom links of our virtual events. We invite visitors to participate in any of our events, and we hope you will join us for coffee and conversation after the service. We look forward to getting to know each other a little better. We have two special announcements this morning. The Arts Council is pleased to present a show by our very own Arts Council members. The exhibit includes paintings, jewelry, fiber art, mosaics, photography, and more. Be sure to stop by the Lexo Gallery after the service to enjoy the variety of art created by our very own members and to learn more about their interests and talents. A 20% donation from sales will go to the UU General Fund. We begin part 2 of our Climate Future Film Festival with a potluck in the Reeb Room at 12 noon. Then at 1 p.m., our 2-part mini festival concludes with the showing of the other 10 award-winning short films from 4 continents that invite inspiration, conversation, and hope around climate change. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. This first thing we're singing this morning is a hymn. It's a new UU hymn, and it's been composed by our very own member, Fred Sirasky. I know he's here this morning. You all know Fred. And we did sing this once before. We're going to do it again today. And in case you don't know, the UUs have started a new virtual hymnal that it's online, and they can keep adding to it. So and give us all the projections and everything. So I know Fred has submitted it. So we're hoping that it will be included in that new hymnal. It's called "Keep Our Chalice Burning Bright."
Justice
Thank you, as always, choir, beautiful. By the way, I am Reverend J. Wolin, the minister here at the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. Our opening reading today is From Biology to Consciousness to Morality by Ursula, Goodenough, and Terrence, Deacon. Moral experience is the wellspring of our virtue. Without it, we are doomed to psychopathology. But once it is perceived, we embark on a lifelong journey, fraught with encounters with fear, greed, habits, hubris, prejudice, self-absorption, wherein we seek to act in accordance with the beauty of the good. This journey is described in countless metaphors as the word of the gods, or as we do, the word of the best that resides within the human. Our journey would be barren without them. And so as we light our chalice to show us symbolically the way on the path forward on this journey, please join me in affirming our inspirations, which are printed in your order of service and will be on the screen behind me. Direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are primary sources of Unitarian Universalist inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, renew our spirits, and transform our lives. We draw upon and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning and live into our values. These sources ground us and sustain us in ordinary, difficult, and joyous times.
Good morning, everyone. Today's story is The Heart and the Brain by Ellen Morgenstern. In a quiet little world, deep inside you and me, live two best friends, as close as can be. The brain, so clever, so full of bright schemes, and the heart, who felt all the hopes and the dreams. One day, brain was busy, thoughts whirling so fast, thinking of the future but stuck in the past. Heart gently whispered, "Come, let's be still. Let's breathe and feel peace. Just try it if you will." Well, brain huffed and puffed, "But I have so much to do, so many thoughts and so many plans too." But heart smiled and said, "Let's sit for a while. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just smile." So they sat side by side, so soft and so chill, listening to their breaths, feeling so still. Brain slowed its chatter, heart beat with ease, drifting together like waves on the seas. "Breathe in deep. Feel the air flow," said heart, so kindly, so peaceful, so slow. "Breathe out gently. Let go of the race. Find quiet. Find stillness. Find your own space." Brain sighed and relaxed. "Oh, this feels right. No need to rush. No need for the flight." Thoughts floated by like clouds in the sky, drifting so softly, just passing by. Heart and brain and rhythm found a new flow, so calm, so gentle, and perfectly slow. In the peace they felt something, a warmth, a glow that came with a thrill. Hooray, they did it. They learned a new skill. "Meditation is magic," brain shouted with glee. "It helps us to be present. It helps us to feel free." Heart nodded yes, and whenever you're stressed, we can return to our breath. It's truly the best. So heart and brain, forever entwined, learn to be present in body and mind. They shared their new secret, so simple, so true. Just breathe, be still, and feel the real you. And so, dear friend, whenever you're blue, remember this lesson. It's inside of you. Close your eyes, take a breath, and unwind. Let your heart and your brain feel perfectly aligned. The end. So, each of us is unique in how we process information that comes into us from our senses. Some have thoughts that seem to move at the speed of light, and some have brains that process our thoughts more slowly and methodically. Neither is right or wrong, it just is. But no matter how you process information in your brain, it is proven that taking the time to slow our breathing and quiet our thoughts are good for us and makes us healthier. So no matter how busy you might be, whether you're moving around or just in your head, take the time to be quiet, to be calm, to just be, even if only for a minute or two each day. Your nervous system needs it. So I now invite any children and youth to join their teachers in the classroom to continue learning about the heart and brain connection. And if you're new here, just follow me. Thank you.
I was saying a little quiet time there. I didn't even realize the song was over. Our centering in words today are by Albert Einstein. A human being is a spatially and temporally limited piece of the whole, what we call the universe. One experiences themselves and their feelings as separate from the rest, an optical illusion of their consciousness. The quest for liberation from this bondage or illusion is the only object of true religion. Not nurturing the illusion, but only overcoming it gives us the attainable measure of inner peace. As we go into a time of silence, I invite you to contemplate moments when you felt connected to the universe. Well, now I would like to, and I think this is what we're up to now, right? Okay. Yes. A few times a year, we do a new member recognition where we recognize and participate and introduce new members to the congregation. I'd like to call up our membership chair, Joan Bennett, and the president of our board of directors, Linda Billing, and our new members to come up onto the stage so everyone can see you. Oh my. Everybody has a part in this. Absolutely.
Thank you. Where do you want me?
First row. You can just. That's right. Good enough.
Now is the time during our service that we honor our newest members and their decision to join the UUs of Sarasota. We encourage you to share with us your creative thoughts, your vital experiences in life, your doubts, and your dreams about what life and our lives together can be.
It is a joy to welcome you all into membership of our community. Becoming a member of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota is an important step, but it is only the first step. I encourage you to grow your religious lives and to explore and to share your unique gifts with the rest of the community. And so now I ask you, this will be your part, will you journey together with us, sharing the joys and responsibilities of membership? And if you agree, please say yes.
Yes. I like that. Thank you so much for all being here. I'm very happy to see your smiling faces. Members of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota, Will you reach out to these people in friendship, including them in our activities? Will you walk with them on their religious journey? Thank you. Will you be open to their unique gifts and perspectives? I like this enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Will you extend a warm welcome to each of them, remembering that each of you was once a new member?
Now, together, yes, we join.
Join our strengths, talents, and commitment with yours. You are a part of us, and we are a part of you.
Ours is a shared ministry to help each other find meaning in life and to build a just and compassionate life and world, working to fulfill the mission of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. Let's all give our new members a great round of applause. Thank you. You know, another thing that we do every week to help build a just and compassionate world is through acts of generosity as we take our weekly offering. Let this sacred time begin. Just sublime. Thank you so much. Our next reading is from the philosopher and social scientist William James, from a lecture he gave called A Pluralistic Universe. James had spent the last years of his life wrestling with the question of whether our individual consciousness might be continuous with something larger. And in a 1909 lecture he published as A Pluralistic Universe, he described a vision the German scientist Gustav Fechner had one spring morning, and I quote, "On a certain spring morning, I went out for a walk. The fields were green, the birds sang, the dew glistened, the smoke was rising, and a light as of transfiguration lay on all things. It was only a little bit of the earth. It was only one moment of its existence, and yet my look embraced it more and more. It seemed to me not only so beautiful an idea, but so true and clear a fact, so rich and fresh and flower-like and carrying me along with it, that I asked myself how the opinions of humans could ever have so spun themselves away from life so far as to deem the earth only a dry clod. The believer finds the tenderer parts of their personal life are continuous with a more of the same quality which is operative in the universe outside of them. The believer is continuous to their own consciousness with a wider self from which saving experiences flow in." And now, one more time, the choir. So in my ministry packet, even when I first applied to the UUA to be a minister, as well as when I applied to interview here, I identified my theology as a mystical humanist. And the reason why I put mystical was because in my life I have had experiences that I just cannot understand from a rational perspective. Many I would call synchronistic events, of the right person showing up at just the right time. I would find information just as I needed it, whether it was to close a deal when I was in the business world or to finish a sermon late on a Saturday night. I've had experiences when I've sat in silence, walked a labyrinth, watched the beauty of a sunset while walking on the beach. Or maybe I would also include the first time I ever led a worship service. And those experiences gave me a feeling of peace, a sense of calm, a connectedness to the universe. All of these experiences, my reason could not account for. Now, I am a humanist because even if I accept the mystery of the unknown, that does not give me the right to abdicate my responsibility to do what I can do to make the world a better place. Now, I cannot quantify these experiences, but today I want to talk about how these types of experiences shape our brain and our soul. And I want to suggest to you that science and spirituality, which I've been doing a series on all year, if you hadn't noticed, might not be as far apart as we have been led to believe. So let us start with the science, because it is genuinely astonishing. The more I read, the more my mind is blown on this stuff. David Eagleman is a neuroscientist at Stanford University, and in his remarkable book, Livewired, he argues that the word that we have been using for the brain's adaptability, neuroplasticity, is actually too weak a word. Plastic suggests something that holds a new shape. But Eagleman suggests that the brain is something far more alive than that. He writes, I quote, "The magic of the brain is not found in the parts it is made of, but in the way all those parts increasingly reweave themselves in an electric living fabric." And then he wrote something that I found a little unexpected. Just a handful, I'm quoting here, just a handful of pages into this book, your brain has already changed. These symbols on the pages have orchestrated millions of tiny changes across vast seas of your neural connections, crafting you into someone just slightly different than you were at the beginning, end quote. So think about that, not metaphorically, but literally. Right now, as you sit here in the sanctuary, as you breathe and listen and let these words wash over you, your brain is changing. The neurons are firing, new connections are forming, old ones are being pruned. You are not the same person you were when you walked in that door this morning. Tell me, can you feel the difference? Can you feel it? Maybe not, but the science says it's true. The 19th century Spanish scientist Santiago Ramon Cajal put it this way: every person can, if they so desire, become the sculptor of their own brain. The sculptor of your own brain. I've been thinking about that phrase for weeks, mostly trying to figure out how to use it in the service. But really, that is because that is how I have always viewed my spiritual practices. the discipline. I have a meditation practice I have had now for 40 years. And I do look at that as sculpting my consciousness and my brain. The discipline in meditation of returning again and again to the breath, back to the present moment, is in its most neurological sense a form of self-creation. And here's what the neuroscientists have found. I've read way too many science books this year now. When people meditate regularly, the amygdala, the brain's threat detector, the seat of our fear and reactivity, actually shrinks. I mean, it's amazing what they can do. They put electrodes on people's brains, and they actually can tell the difference. And also, during meditation, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of wise judgment and compassion, grows thicker. The brain's default mode network, the part of the brain that runs our endless mental chatter, our ruminations, our anxious, our self-narration, it quiets down. Researchers studying long-term meditators discovered something important. Meditation loosens what one scientist calls affective stickiness, our tendency to cling to an event that caused pain in our life and then make it our identity. Like, this always happens to me, right? I know I have said that in my life, right? And we identify with something that's happened. And there's actually things in your brain that cause that. But meditation, the science shows, loosens that stickiness. It creates quite literally more space between stimulus and response, which, as I think I quoted Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl a few weeks ago, the difference between stimulus and response is where our freedom lies. What the science is telling us is that every practice that we hold sacred, every meditation, every shared silence, every act of genuine compassion, every moment of awe that we experience leaves a physical trace in the architecture of our brains. We are, as Eagleman says, live wired. And we wire ourselves in part by what we choose to pay attention to, by what we choose to practice, how we choose to act, who we choose to become. Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, who I have studied in his Plum Village tradition, as one of his 14 mindfulness trainings, talks about what we consume, not only food, but media, conversation, even emotional atmosphere around us shapes both individual and collective consciousness. So if you're watching violent movies, it will bring violence into your consciousness. And he suggests you should not be watching violent movies, which I tell Jan that all the time. My monk teacher told me not to watch this action movie, but she still insists on watching it, so, with me. So, anyway, I only joke a little. But I want to say this. I don't say all of this as a way of reducing spirituality to biology, right? But more so as a vindication of everything that spiritual practitioners have always known. That it's not an either or science or spirituality, but a both and. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, because some people hearing all of this will say, well, you see, it's just brain chemistry, right? Prayer, just neurons firing. God is just a pattern of electrical activity. The whole spiritual practice is a beautiful adaptive illusion. I want to discern that thought. Right? The neuroscientist Andrew Newberg has spent decades scanning the brains of people at the peak of their spiritual experience. Tibetan Buddhist monks, Franciscan nuns, Pentecostals in deep devotion, Sikhs chanting together. And what he found consistently, time after time, is that in the moment of deepest prayer or meditation, a region of the parietal lobe, a region of the brain responsible for our sense of separation of ourself and the external world, grows quiet. Right? The boundary between self and no self dissolves. The meditator reports a sense of unity, of boundlessness, of belonging to something larger. The experience of boundlessness is what the brain does when it opens fully to what is. The Dalai Lama said it very plainly. From decades of dialogue between Buddhist practitioners and Western scientists at the Mind and Life Institute, and I quote, "With the ever-growing impact of science on our lives, religion and spirituality have a greater role to play, reminding us of our humanity. There is no contradiction between the two. Each gives us valuable insights into the other. Both science and the teachings of the Buddha tell us of the fundamental unity of all things." End quote. Now we, as Unitarian Universalists, have long proposed this. Our inspirations, as we read it at the beginning of the service, include both a direct experience of the transcending mystery and wonder and the teachings and understanding of science. We do not have to choose, right? We were built exactly for this conversation. Modern researchers studying spiritual experience have found that moments of awe, connection, prayer, music, birth, grief, worship moments, when we feel part of something larger than ourselves, produce lasting changes in human well-being, in compassion, and in the sense that life has meaning. Science tells us people rooted in meaningful spiritual community tend to live longer, suffer less isolation, and experience lower rates of despair. The ancient wisdom traditions and modern science are arriving at the same conclusion, that meaning and meaning-making matters. Community matters. Spiritual practices matter. What does it mean for us here gathered in this sanctuary, lighting our chalice, singing our hymns, and trying in our own imperfect human way to live lives of compassion and justice and love? I think it means at least three things. First, it means that what we do matters, not symbolically, but literally, materially. Every time you sit in meditation, or even that 1 minute of silence that we do, you are literally reshaping your brain. Every time you choose compassion over reaction, you strengthen the neural pathway of kindness. Every time you return to the breath, in the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, breathing in, I breathe in calmly. Breathing out, I smile. It's a hard thing to do, really, to think about it, to just smile on cue all the time. But it's actually healthy for us. And every time you do that, you make that ease that you feel more available than the next time, and the time after that, and the time after that. You are sculpting yourself slowly, patiently, breath by breath, into the person who you most want to be. Second, it means that gathering matters. This thing that we do here together is not optional. Something happens when our bodies breathe and sing together that cannot happen alone. The research on communal worship shows that brain waves actually synchronize, that heart rates align, that cortisol drops, that oxytocin rises. Say oxytocin. Whatever. Saying hello to somebody during coffee hour is medicine for you and them. So say hello to someone you don't know during coffee hour. And third, and this is the hardest and the most important, it means that the ancient border between science and spirit is dissolving. Not because science has reduced the sacred to mere mechanism, but because science done with enough rigor and enough humility keeps arriving at the same place the mystics always describe, that the self is not as solid as we think, that consciousness is not as bound as we presume, that we are in some genuine and measurable sense continuous with something larger than ourselves. Now, in the synagogue of my childhood, there was a long prayer we said on the high holy days, Unatana Tokef, that asked, who shall live and who shall die? Who by fire and who by water? The prayer was terrifying, but it was also beautiful in its own way. It was much longer than that, but anyway, it named the fragility of life without flinching from it. And then it offered this, that teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedekah, repentance, prayer, and acts of loving kindness can avert the severity of the decree. Now, I did not understand this prayer when I was young. I thought about bargaining with God for another year of life to be put in the book of life. But now, after years of practice, after years of study, I understand it very differently. Teshuvah, return, is the act of turning back towards your best self, of noticing when you have drifted from your values and choosing to return, like returning to the breath in the present moment. That is neuroplasticity in its most sacred form. That is the sculpting of the soul. Tefillah, prayer, meditation, or really any contemplative practice. Mine happens to be meditation, but it could be any contemplative practice. Coming to service every Sunday is a contemplative practice. And it is asking us to pay attention, to be present to all that is around us. It is the act of opening the self to something larger, of quieting the boundary between the self and the world, of touching, however briefly, that continuous more that Williams James described in the reading, that Newberg measured, that every mystic in every tradition has always pointed toward. And tzedekah, acts of loving kindness, are the practices that literally wire our brains for connection, for compassion, and for the kind of humanity that makes our lives worth living and our communities worth sustaining. Perhaps that is the real miracle. Not that the brain changes. We've always believed that people can change and grow. The miracle is that compassion changes us. Love changes us. Every act of mercy, every moment of silence, every song we sing together, every time we refuse cynicism and choose connection instead, we are shaping one another. In a world training us towards fear, isolation, outrage, and despair, worship becomes an act of resistance. Community becomes healing. Spiritual practice becomes a way of reclaiming our humanity. And perhaps that is what the mystics, the rabbis, the Buddhists, the neuroscientists, and generations before us have been trying to say in their own language. that we belong to one another, that we are unfinished, and that love is still reshaping our brain and the world. May it be so. Please rise and by the and/or Spirit for our closing hymn, Filled with Loving Kindness. You guys would be the choir. Most importantly, moral experience is not only something that we develop within our own being. May we also share this experience with one another, and it binds us together. Our shared moral experiences generate as well a thirst for moral communities. Humaneness, fair-mindedness, care, and reverence can be considered to represent cardinal virtues, in the sense that a human community mindfully infused with these qualities can be described as a moral community within which we believe can best flourish our emergent and most astonishing minds and selves. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. We used to carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all for your presence here today. Go out and do acts of loving kindness. Thank you.